All right, welcome back to Mastering Risk. I am your host, Dr. D. Today, we are going to talk about the 5 risks facing SMB owners and give you very specific step-by-step what you can do to mitigate those in these crazy, chaotic times that we find ourselves in 2026. So sit back, grab yourself your favorite beverage. Let's get at her. All right, welcome back, and a shout out to Mrs. Doubtfire, the live performance that was here at the National Arts Center. If you ever get an opportunity, please take the time to support the live performing arts in whatever form you prefer. It is a wonderful creative part of humanity that we do not spend enough time supporting. If you're a small business owner, if you're somebody sitting on the fence and getting ready to think about becoming an entrepreneur, you work for a small business, these are chaotic times. What's going on between world leaders in different polarizations, creating multipolar worlds, etc., is very, very chaotic to the small business owner. It's difficult to determine what the next set of tariffs will be, what the next set of regulatory environment will be, what is the AI threat, what's the cyber world look like, and how does my operational first, second, and third tier suppliers get affected? So today what we've gone is we've looked across the landscape, we went back in some of our previous videos, and we're bringing back the 5 top risks that are real, that an SMB can do, and they take next to no money. And for the large part, what we're talking about today is absolutely free. It's just a cognitive orientation towards moving away from I don't like X politician, I disagree with what they're doing, to I'm a business owner in this environment. I don't have to like the world the way it is. I don't have to like the environment. In fact, nobody really cares whether I like the business environment as it is. That's pointless. Nobody cares. The problem is, how do I be successful? How do I gain enough revenue that I can continue to pay my employees? And if you're an employee, what can you do to ensure that your business you work for remains a viable going concern so a paycheck comes your way? Because let's be dead serious. If the business goes under, so does your job. So the health and welfare of the overall business for which you work for is just as important as you performing the tasks that you do to earn your income. First thing right off the top, we always talk about cyber incidents. Cyber is this big mystification of the world of IT online work. Everybody, every business, everything that we do now, including myself at Preparedness Labs Incorporated, this YouTube channel, if you're listening on audio on the podcast, it's the same. It's all enabled online. How do we do that? How do we create commerce, exchange goods and services for money, provide information, provide community benefit, and provide value to people across this cyberspace while protecting ourselves, our interests, and our business? The first thing is understanding that it's the number one risk in the 2026 Alliance Global Risk Profile. The reason that is uncertainty. Because there's so much and it's moving so quick that most small business owners just don't understand what they can do. And here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated, we believe in a quick, short recipe. It's up on our website. If you go to preparednesslabs.ca, there's a free risk download for entrepreneurs there, and it outlines in cyber some things that you can do. But I want to reiterate them today. Number 1, don't click on links. We don't click on links here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated. If you send us an email with a link, I'm not clicking on it. It doesn't matter what you're offering me. I have a program we use that searches attachments for any type of virus, etc. before they're through the firewall, or once they're through the firewall, they get searched. And attachments are only open from trusted sources. If I don't recognize it, doesn't matter who you are. I'm not opening the attachment, and I'm not clicking on links. The same thing with phone calls. This is really neat. If you're in my contact list, your phone will come through. But I use that new Apple iOS 26 setting. Every single person who's not in my contact list who calls me, it goes away. I don't have voicemail. You can't leave me a message. If you're not in my contact list, you can't call me. And as a business owner, that's perfectly fine, because I have an email that I can control access to and control the workflow. So number one is avoid phishing campaigns by only answering phone calls from trusted sources. Route all of your business work through, and this is non-traditional. People say, call me for an estimate. No, I don't do that. Don't call me, because I won't answer. Send it through the email. I can control that. I can look for phishing. I can look for viruses. I can use my cyber defense on that. On the other side of it is multi-factor authentication. So it means that it's either using SMS code or a verification app that Microsoft has or other apps that exist to make sure that you use multi-factor authentication to access any website and to protect any access to any supporting material. The other one that you can do is to make sure that you have offsite storage. Now, what we talk about that, there's a rule called the 3-2-1 rule. I didn't invent this. Something really interesting I found online. 3 copies of something, 2 different media types, and 1 offsite. Right? So what we do here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated is I have a cloud backup that we use on a regular basis. All our data is stored in the cloud. I have a local backup that sits here in the company office. And then I have what I call an air gap backup. So periodically, probably every 72 to 96 hours, I'll back up the company drive, and that goes off-site to its different location. And that means that if the building the office is in burns down, my computer goes and the backup drive that I had in the house would go too, right? I have an offsite that I can hook up and be back up and running in a very short period of time. The next one is password. Now I was really interested to find out. I was with a group of a great cyber professionals at this meeting that we did a couple of weeks ago in Montreal, Canada. And one of the experts was saying, they don't recommend regular password changes anymore to people, like every 30 days to do that, because what people traditionally would do is, I'm going to pick Bulldog 1. Next week it'll be Bulldog 2. And they're changing them all at the same time. Now, that's an opinion. I think it's really smart. We change them regularly on a schedule at different times to completely different. We use a password manager, which means we use very complex 16 to 18 character passwords held in a password manager, and we do that quite regularly and change them. When it goes down, we have written backups. I know it's old school. Not everybody thinks it's the right thing to do, but I have a written password book that has everything written down. Why? Because in the end, when all the IT goes away for ransomware or anything else like that, I can take that password, I can go to another location, I can get a new computer, and I can log in and start over. Do I lose some of the data? Absolutely. Can I start over? Absolutely. I don't have to recreate everything from scratch. So these are very simple things that you can do. And the other one that is often people don't turn on is your automatic updates. Now, I know Microsoft users, I'm not a Microsoft user, but I know Microsoft users hate that because it always wants to do it at the most inopportune of times. Gotta love Microsoft. I'm talking about your physical products and your software products, having your patches up to date. If there's a security patch available for your physical hardware, you have to pay as much attention to that as you do your software. That means if you have a home alarm system or a business alarm system, they have regular patch downloads that need to be done, just like your phone, just like any programs that you have. When the manufacturer finds a security flaw, a bug, and needs to fix it, your security system, your physical security system is the same. And on a lot of people's physical security systems, there might be 15 or 20 uninstalled patches. So figure out a way to either have it on automatic install, or if not, doesn't like it, to make sure that you check it on a very frequent basis to ensure that your patches are up to date. So if you think about your immediate cyber defense, don't click on links, only attachments from very, very trusted sources, and wash them through a virus checker. Make sure you have multi-factor authentication. Make sure you have off-site air-gapped storage that's not hooked up to the internet so a ransomware can't get at it. And make sure that you update your patchwork both on your physical products, like your security system, and on your software. That's your initial defense. At that point, you're taking all the reasonable steps that are required. Now, there are greater steps, and you can do some wonderful research. We have some contacts here at a wonderful Canadian company called 123 Cyber, an emerging Canadian expertise in cyber and cyber defense and working with federal government contracting. There's a much higher step you can go. But for small and medium businesses and solo entrepreneurs, even the folks, you have an Etsy store saying etched bags. It doesn't matter. Take your cybersecurity seriously, put these steps into place, and do the best extent you can to protect you and your business from nefarious actors. That's cyber. Number 2 is artificial intelligence. Now, before we're not going to fearmonger that everybody's job is going to be taken away. Yes, there are significant layoffs coming in certain fields, but the danger of AI is it coming through the front door. Now, on our YouTube channel, we have a separate video we did specifically on the dangers of AI and the fact that it's walking in the front door of your business. And that's because most small businesses and individuals themselves do not have clear guidelines on the application and the use of AI within their business. What's happening is unbeknownst and without thinking of it as a security issue, a lot of small business owners are taking business intelligence, so your pricing data, your historical data, your finance data, putting it up into ChatGPT, Perplexity, George, Gemini, whatever it may be, Grok, whatever one, Copilot, and asking it to perform functions on it. When you do that into a public access one, a free one, or even to some degree your paid compartmentalization of AI, you're giving them free access and free use of that data. If you look down in the terms and conditions that none of us read and everybody agrees to, when you dump information up into publicly available AI, you're giving it the ability to have that. It owns it. It's now available. It's searchable. Other people can find it. So you have businesses taking their insider information and the secure information, throwing it into ChatGPT and saying, summarize this, please. I have a presentation coming up. I need to here's our entire pitch. Please shrink this down into a 300-word script with 4 bullet points for 1 PowerPoint slide. And that's great. And an AI like that can deliberately help you and speed up your workflow. But you just handed all that information over to a company you know nothing about and have zero control over. Absolutely a bad idea. The real danger of AI right now is not that it's going to crush your business. It's that your employees are going to crush your business by letting all your information go. And if you have a fiduciary duty to privacy data to a client, imagine if I took my client's information, put it up into AI, and asked AI a bunch of questions about it to speed up workflow. I'm not just opening myself up to my information getting out there. I'm now taking my client's information and I'm giving it free of charge to X or to OpenAI or to Google or any one of these other programming and just giving them access to it. So deliberate, intentional, practical use of AI is very, very important in today's world. It can amplify what we do here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated. We use a lot of AI. We use AI across a lot of the things we do, but it's all inside a paid envelope that's very well controlled, and the articulation and the storage of data is within the purchase agreement. So yeah, we pay for the use of AI across a bunch of platforms and a bunch of services to help the workflow here in the company, but it's all protected. It's all guarded. It's all locked down inside an agreement that comes with a higher purchase price. So if you're going to use AI, make sure it's clear in your company exactly what you want your employees to do and exactly what you intend to do, right? Throwing your financial data, your Excel spreadsheet that has all the financial data for your company and say, please produce my 3 financial statements for the year. dear Lord, you're handing it all over to the open world and you have absolutely zero security on that. We don't recommend that. So number 3 is business interruption. And I'm going to focus on my life experience as a logistician. I worked in supply chain management for a couple of decades in the Army and outside of the Army. And nothing can shut you down faster than an unforeseen closure of a primary supplier. And I use the 5 widget model, right? So imagine you produce a product that has 5 widgets that come together to make one item. And all 5 are required. If one of those suppliers shuts the door tomorrow, and trust me, they're not going to give you a warning that they're in trouble. They're not going to give you a heads up that their balance sheet is thinning out and that they're running out of their ability. They're going to push that as far as they can. And then one day, there's nothing at the other end of the email. There's nothing at the other end of the phone. And if it's one of your 5 widgets that make up your device, what just happened? Your entire delivery system shuts down. And if you don't have some type of backup, you're in trouble. But even if you have a backup and you only have that backup for when one of those 5 widgets go down, you're in just as much trouble. Because if you're likely not the only person who uses that. And if you think an emergency on your part or a lack of planning constitutes an emergency on another supplier's part to get that other widget in so you can finish your final item, that's not how it works. What we recommend and what supply chain education tells us is if you have 5 widgets that go into your item, you should have at least 10 contracts out there. Which means, yes, you're going to be at times paying a slightly higher per item price to bring it into your factory or your point of assembly, but what you're doing is building an ongoing relationship with a number of suppliers. So your primary and your secondary supplier of each of the widgets that you use to make your final item have an active contract with you, which means you're not getting an even amount with everybody, but you're an active going concern. Your customer that pays their bill on time or ahead of time, you put regular orders in and you help them keep going. What that means is when there is a disruption and you have to increase the quantity that you're asking from your secondary supplier, you're a known quantity, which means you're going to be ahead of the person that comes out of right field and tries to bash the door down and tell them, I need everything in your inventory right now because I failed to plan. What we talk about here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated is part of our scheme that we use in our fractional chief risk officer program. When we sit down with clients and we map out your business, we lay it all out, every single step you take in a visual format. Humans are visual learners. Some people like incredible complex IT programs. I use a whiteboard, and it's incredibly refreshing when you sit down with a client in front of a whiteboard and you're laying out their business and you're visualizing it for them. Often what happens with small business owners is they'll construct something over an extended period of time. And what they'll do is they'll build this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece. And before you know it, it's a working conglomeration of a bunch of unrelated things that you're just making work. And when you visualize it and say, okay, here are all your potential points of failure. Here are your few single points of failure. Here are the areas of your concern. How do we address those? And you start walking through and mitigating the risks throughout the operational chain. You start to see the map. But until you can lay out and visualize the entire end-to-end process for whatever the good or service you sell, all of the IT requirements and supporting software, and all of the points of integration with the internet and open possibility for cyber risk and artificial intelligence risk, you visualize it and you see it. And then you start to figure out, okay, hey, here's my first supplier, here's my secondary supplier, here's my third supplier. And we talk about visualizing it, doing it that way, because a lot of times what's purported to be the be-all to end-all in some of the business continuity work is to get security certificates and performance certificates and guarantees from your supplier, right? So you're going to tell your supplier is going to tell you they're doing great, they're doing fine, the business is wonderful. It's burning around them. But they're not about to tell you. They're going to give you every piece of information you want to satisfy that they're the best possible supplier for you.